Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan Rice. I want to go over my bait wall and why I decided to go the way I did. My bait wall is a piece of 1/2 inch sanded plywood, 4 foot by 8 foot. This sheet of plywood cost me $70. That's not cheap. You can get a 4 by 8 sheet of real thin, that particle board, that cheap pegboard for like $22. So for another $50, you can get a piece of 1/2 inch plywood that can take a lot more abuse. They make little 16 by 16 plastic ones at Home Depot or Lowe's, and those little 16 inch by 16 inch are $10 each. So if you just start adding that up, to do a 4 by 8 area, 4 foot by 8 foot area, it would probably cost you probably $120, $150 just for the pegboard. Then you gotta buy these pegs. Now they sell these pegs, I think a 4-pack is like $4. So it's like $1 a peg. Well, I got these on Amazon for 10 for 10. The pegs themselves are the same price as if you bought them. But I went with a 1/2 inch plywood because you can see I got other items here. I got my sign, and it, just like a pegboard, you can move the pegs around. All I do is I just take a screw. I got these screwed in. This little piece here that you probably can't see is missing. I just took my limers and cut that off. This way it lays flat against this. These are a little bit longer ones, these ones here. But I just take a screw and I can move them around. So it's the same concept. It's not easy as just pulling the peg out and putting it back in. But those particle board pegs, the pegboard itself is cheap. Over time, it's going to break. If it gets wet or has some moisture in your garage, it's going to break down too as well and not be as sturdy as your 1/2 inch plywood. I like to do things, I like to change things up. I like to be able to just have a solid wall to screw anything to it, and I know it's not going to fall down. So if I want to move things around, I just unscrew it, and I could just take it and screw it over here. And I could put exactly where I want it. A pegboard, even though they're small increments and they can move around, it's still not exactly where you might want it to be. This way it gives me the possibility to put it exactly where I want it and add as many pegs as I need, because a pegboard is just little increments. You can see, with your soft plastics, you're not going to have that many pegs because you need to have room for your bags itself. Now if you have a bunch of little baits like this, then you're going to be able to squeeze more pegs in. But I think over time, your plywood wall, and just screwing your pegs to the plywood is going to outlast you. I think this is a better route. You can see up top here, I have my Milwaukee packouts where I keep my tackle in, and I just screwed the plates to the wall. So if I want to grab a tackle box, I just reach up, which I'm tall, and I could just take it down and just do what I got to do and just take it and put it back. So that's where I keep a lot of my on-the-go tackle. This is like all my extra stuff, but my soft plastics, I keep all my soft plastics in the original bags that they come in. I have a Plano, I don't have it out right now, but I have that Plano roll where it lays flat and you can stuff all your plastics in there. I used that for a while too. I still have it to somewhere. But I like to keep my soft plastics in the original bag. But with the Hobie, the crate, or the Hobie little hatch in front of me, that's where I just, I come back every week, I usually unload it, and then the following week, I just grab what I need and just keep however many soft plastics I want in the Hobie hatch up front that I need. I like to bring everything back, at the end of the week and just put it back on my wall. So it's kind of like an inventory. I can keep inventory. It's not always rolled up and kept in my kayak. I like bringing my soft plastics back and put them back on the wall so I can keep track of what I have left. This way I know that I'm only down to 1 bag of the black and blue, Mag Fatties from Z-Man. So I know that I'm going to need a bag of those very soon. I do keep my spare hard baits, obviously, and some of my terminal tackle on here as well. But like I said, I like this plywood concept over a peg wall. If you go a little heavier duty peg wall or the metal peg walls, it's going to cost you more than the sheet of plywood anyway. Your only cheapest option is that particle board, pegboard is your cheapest solution, but it's not strong, it's not sturdy, it's not going to last for a very long time. I've never gone that route, but I know other people who have, and they get upset because if something that, you know, say if one of these came down and hit the peg itself, a lot of times it breaks that particle pegboard. It breaks very easily from, you know, any vertical drops of anything on it or anything coming down on these pegs. This is just one little simple drywall screw. So once again, it's your more inexpensive screws that you can use. But that peg is sturdy. I mean, it's just holding your baits, but it can take a hit. I think I've actually dropped one of these before and it actually hit my pegs and nothing happened. So this is the way I like to set up my bait wall, is using the plywood. It keeps it simple and it's going to outlast you. So to put this up, all I did is I got a level line. You can see I keep my desk here. This is where I do all my prep. Just found my studs and I just did nice little rows of screws on the studs. I think I hit 5 studs on this sheet with like 4 screws coming down. And that's it. And it just gives it a nice finished look. I mean, my wife's like, oh, you want to paint this? I says, nah, because by the time you're done with all the baits, you don't see much of it anyway. But, you know, you could paint this a nice black. You could paint it a nice color. You know, like I said, I have my sign here in the middle. You could do like a little, you know, little art graphics in the middle if you want for your, you know, just to kind of dress it up. But I like this solution, so I hope it gives you guys an idea. It's very simple, and like I said, it's there for life, and you can just constantly just move this stuff around. Yeah, you're gonna leave some screw holes in your plywood if you don't cover them back up, but it's no different than having the pegboard. You have a bunch of holes in the peg, you know, on the board itself, so it's the same concept. But, you know, once you have yourself set up, you usually don't change it that much anyway. One way to bring the cost of this down without using pegboard itself is you can get a sheet of like a CDX plywood. So it has one, you know, it's more of an exterior plywood. It has like a side that's kind of rough and a little bit more knots in it. The other side of the CDX is a little bit smoother, and it's smooth enough to do the same concept. It may not look as nice, but it's still smooth enough. And I think you can get a sheet like that right now, maybe for like 40 or 50. So you can really bring it down with a sheet like that too. You know, one other option you could do too is you could actually just mount strips of wood on the wall. You know, just screw those right, you know, the strips on the wall, and just, you know, mount your pegs to those strips. That's one cheaper option you could do too as well. But I like the full sheet because then it gives you the ability to put anything anywhere you want. But I just want to let you know there is a cheaper route of plywood grade that you could use to do the same concept if you don't care as much about how it looks and just want it for the purpose of it. So I hope you guys like this video, and you guys always see this in the back of my video. This is what, you know, all my baits are hung on, and that's it, guys. So as always, be safe in the water, and I'll catch you guys in the water. Thank you for watching.